Hey, it's me, Nalthazar, and welcome to another Magic the Gathering Puzzle Quest video. In today's video, I'm going to be going over the 4.7 patch, so let's get into it. A new patch released today, and with it came a number of wonderful goodies. Like, very many wonderful goodies. So, let's go through them. Now, you may have already looked at the forums. If you haven't looked at the forums, if you haven't looked at the patch notes, I would strongly advise that you do, or maybe you just watch this video and then you don't have to look at them because I'm going to go over them anyways. So, yeah, anyways. We've got a new collection of cards. It's a new set. It's called Puzzle Masters. So Puzzle Masters is going by the abbreviation PMA. In the card sets, you'll actually see it there as PMA. It's right there next to Origins. So it's jumped all the way over to like the second set that we have in our card collection. There are 9 new cards in the set. So there's 1 masterpiece, there are 3 mythics, and there are 5 rares. We've also got a new Planeswalker. It's going to be a brand new Chandra Planeswalker. And we've got some new mechanics that are being introduced to the game. So we've got improved gems and we've got mana field. You might be like, Michael, it says ignite between improved gems and mana field. That should be right. But yeah, anyways, ignite are just the red version of the improved gems. So improved gems are special gems created by effects only present in the Puzzle Masters cards and Planeswalkers. So I like that it says cards and Planeswalkers because Chandra is the only one that exists right now. But this means that they're going to be making more of the Planeswalkers, which means that we're probably going to be getting more of the cards too. So we've got a red one, but this also means that we should be getting a black, white, green, and blue one. Each improved gem is going to have its own unique effect based on its color. The improved gem for red is called Ignite. An improved gem is going to last until it's destroyed. Basically, think of it as an activated gem. So when there's an improved gem on the battlefield, it's going to be looking like that color, but it's sort of like enhanced, right? So it's going to have like more of that color in it, right? So as you can see, like the red gem is just a little bit more red, right? And has a little bit more of an animation to it. Kind of like how an activated gem looks a little bit different from a normal gem, this does too. So it's going to last until it's either destroyed by a match or by something that destroys gems. So either way, it's going to get popped. You're good. It's great. And then in the first release of Puzzle Masters, we're only getting the red stuff, right? So we're only getting ignited gems, which are the red gems. And then with the subsequent releases of Puzzle Masters, we're going to get the other color versions. So the Ignite version is, once again, it's the red one, and it'll make it so that when the Ignite gem is matched or destroyed, it's going to pop a 3x3 area of gems around it, right? So if you match a gem, right, it's going to destroy 3x3 around it. If you make a match with multiple, then it will potentially destroy like big chains of gems, which can cause cascades, which is really, really cool. The animation for the whole improved gem and ignite and how ignite works and looks is absolutely gorgeous. I love how they animated this. And then also for the new mechanic mana field, I love how they animated that too. So just all in all, I'm really appreciating the animation changes that they made to the game in this patch with these new mechanics. It looks beautiful. So the next new mechanic is mana field. Mana field is a new mechanic for supports, and it makes it so that if the player makes a match adjacent to the support gem, then you will once per turn, on your turn, get a bonus effect, right? So it specifically reads, whenever a player makes a match within the specific zone around the supports gem, you get the bonus effect, right? It's going to trigger its mana field ability. So there are currently 3 supports with the mana field ability. There is the new masterpiece, which is Mox Ruby. P.S. I absolutely love that they're adding the Power 9 from Paper Magic to Puzzle Quest. As a brief side thought, like the introduction of this piece of power into Puzzle Quest made me think of like, what would I say is the Power 9 for Puzzle Quest cards? Like, what are the Power 9 Puzzle Quest cards? So if that's a video that you're interested in seeing, let me know in the comments section. I actually went and thought it through. So I've got my 9, but if that interests you, then yeah, I'll totally put that in video form. But yeah. So we've got that, and then we've got a rare and a mythic support that also are going to have the mana field, both of them from the Puzzle Master set. So along with that, we're getting a new Chandra, Chandra Ignited. And if you're a paper player and you're looking at Chandra Ignited and you're like, I don't quite recognize that art, that's because someone at the Octagon studio actually drew this puppy right here. Look at this. Like, someone in the studio made this thing. Like, she's beautiful. Like, whoever did this, if you're watching this video right now, like, you did a fantastic job. Pat yourself on the back. I could not have drawn this. Like, I'm just imagining like someone at my work drawing this, even like just having someone at my work that had that talent artistically to be able to do that. So I think that's pretty cool. Just in that, like, all of the other cards that we've gotten, the art from those cards just comes from paper magic, but they made this thing, right? So that means that maybe they could make other things at some point too. Like, clearly they've got the talent for it. Look at this thing. It's fantastic. So yeah. Anyways, Chandra Ignited has 118 health. She falls under the +4/+4/+3, -1/-1 for her mana bonuses. Her 3 abilities are Living Fire, Pyromancer's Gauntlet, and Ether Ignition. So Living Fire is going to activate 4 gems, and then when matched or you destroy them, it's going to deal 2 damage to the first opposing creature and create 2 fleeting elemental tokens. So my only beef with this ability is that the activate gems don't only activate red gems. They'll activate any color gem. Whereas because this is being activated by a mono red planeswalker, I really wish that this would just go on red gems. Like, if they did that for all planeswalkers that activate gems, just make it so that if it will only activate gems of that planeswalker's colors, I'd really appreciate that. I feel like that's just like a minor quality of life thing, but it would make the abilities way better. That being said, Living Fire is still a fantastic ability at only 6 loyalty. It can just be a little bit trickier to activate those gems or match those gems than you would want. Pyromancer's Gauntlet is the second ability, and the Pyromancer's Gauntlet ability is just going to make a copy of the rare card Pyromancer's Gauntlet on the battlefield. Pyromancer's Gauntlet is a rare support from the Puzzle Master set. It's normally 12 mana. It's an artifact, and it has mana field. So if you get a gem match that is adjacent to or on the support gem, you're going to ignite 2 red gems. And then when this support loses shields for the first time each turn, you deal 2 damage to your opponent's planeswalker for each spell card in your hand. So up to 12. And since that's going to make it so that when it loses the shields for the first time each turn, it could potentially do that 12 on your turn and potentially do that 12 on your opponent's turn also. That being said, the mana field can only be activated during your turn, but nonetheless, igniting the extra 2 red gems is quite nice. And then finally, and definitely should not be forgotten, then draw 3 cards. So having a red planeswalker that's going to draw cards and even just have it like draw 3 is really nice. I really like having card draw, and card draw is something that red has historically struggled with a little bit, so this is fantastic. It'll make her a lot more viable when things like Whirlwind of Thought and Song of Creation rotate out, and red's access to card draw becomes a little bit more limited. And her third ability, Ether Ignition, is going to create an Ether Ignition token, and then you're going to destroy X non-red gems, deal X damage to each opposing creature, where X is the total number of red gems. And that Ether Ignition token is going to be a 6 shield emblem support with when this support loses shields for the first time each turn, draw a card. So your turn, if it loses shields, draw a card. Your opponent's turn, it loses shields, draw a card. When any support loses shields, deal 4 damage to your opponent's planeswalker, meaning your shields or your opponent's supports, right? Or your support loses shields or your opponent's support loses shields. Deal 4 damage to your opponent's planeswalker. This effect can trigger up to 4 times per turn, right? So once again, your turn and your opponent's turn. I actually had a match where I was using this up against a Thassa Urza deck, and the Thassa Urza deck killed itself because on my turn, all of my gem conversion was pinging my opponent for 4. So I wound up doing 16 on each of my turns to my opponent. And then on my opponent's turn, because of them getting all the landfalls and all of the support gems getting pinged again, they wound up taking 16 on their turn. And so on their turn, they would have actually, I think, been able to maybe even kill me. But then they killed themselves because they were destroying supports. So that was super fun. It was nice to see actually Urza's super pop-off mana ability become a negative and kill the opponent. So that made me giggle a little bit. That was nice. So those are her 3 abilities. She's a really fun walker. She's definitely really cool. I like how they're introducing the whole new improved gem with Chandra Ignited. So yeah, pretty cool. We've got a new event, Colors of Magic. It's a PvP event. It has both rank and progression rewards. There is an entrance fee, so to play in the event, you need to pay 20 mana crystals. Those are the yellow crystals. It is standard. You are allowed to use any planeswalker. There are 2 nodes. There's a recharge time of 23.5 hours. It starts with 4 charges. There's a maximum number of charges of 8, and the event lasts for 46 hours. This is fantastic. This is very clearly a they have been listening to us sort of moment. I'm very much happy about this. So you're going to start the event with 4 nodes if you play like right at the beginning. And then after 23.5 hours, you're going to get another charge. So that should be, I'm guessing, another 4 nodes. This is just my guess, right? Because the recharge time is 23.5 hours and the duration is only 46 hours. So my guess is that this is going to work as you start with 4 charges and then 23.5 hours into the event, 4 more charges are going to come your way. There's a maximum number of charges of 8, so you don't have to actually worry about like, oh no, I might lose charges. And as long as you play sometime in the last 22.5 hours of the event, then you can just complete all of your nodes. You don't have to worry about like, this has a really awkward end time like Avacyn's Madness if I live in America, right? So that's pretty sweet. That being said, I feel like I might be missing something from this event. And if I am, please be a wonderful, wonderful person and explain this to me in the comments. But I feel like I'm missing something. It's a really funky event, guys. Buckle your seatbelts because I don't think this event's going to work this way. And if it does, then people are only going to use green planeswalkers. So there's 2 nodes. There's the top node, which is the 5 colors of magic, and there's the bottom node, which is Mana Wheel. Now, in this event, whenever a player matches gems, instead of gaining mana, they will benefit from different effects according to the color of the gems. So cards can't gain mana. When you match gems, trigger an effect based on your mana bonus of that gem's color. If it's greater than 0, right? And then if you match 4 or more gems, so if you get a landfall, you double your mana bonus for that effect. So here's the deal, right? If it's greater than 0. So if you are playing a planeswalker that has 0 to like red and you make a red match, not only do you not get mana out of it, but you don't get any bonus out of it either. So that means that you need some other way to make it so you can play cards, right? Well, let's take a look at each of the different nodes, right? So for the 5 colors of magic, there's going to be an indestructible token that reads, at the beginning of your turn, draw a card. That's not going to play you cards. It just draws you cards. Then, in the white, if you make a white match, you gain X life. X is equal to your white mana bonus. Blue is create X Thopter tokens, where X is equal to your blue mana bonus. Black is the first opposing creature gets -X until end of turn, where X is your black mana bonus. Red is going to be to deal X damage to your opponent's planeswalker, where X is equal to your red mana bonus. And green is going to be your first creature gets +X until the beginning of your next turn, then reduce the cost of the first 2 cards in your hand by 11. So, I mean, okay. So, I mean, I guess, like, right, you match a green gem, you get this +X, but it's just like, you have to, so unless it's like you gain X life, then reduce the cost of the first 2 cards in your hand by 11, or if it's like if this is restricted to just green, like you're gonna need to be running like just pure green gem conversion, right? Because mana doesn't mean anything. It's just you're gonna be reducing the cost by 11 for making green matches. So I don't know. Like I just see planeswalkers like Nissa Worldwaker being like, all right, time to go green gem conversion ramp. Let's do this. My first creature is just going to get ridiculous boosts because it's going to get +X, where X is my mana bonus, and I'm going to reduce the cost of the cards in my hand by 11, so I'm just going to be able to play them all for free. Like, I mean, this right here is just like this is a near infinite loop with Song of Creation right here waiting to happen in green. Just saying that right now, right? And you have to get green gems matched in order to be able to do anything really, right? Like, I mean, like blue, you can make Thopter tokens. You can kill your opponent with Thopter tokens. And red, you can deal damage to your opponent's planeswalker. So, like, if you're running Koth, oh, good lord, Koth with gem conversion and stuff. Gosh, that's going to be so much damage, especially if they've got Valakut also. Oh, terrifying. But nonetheless, like, you're not going to complete the objectives if you do that, right? And then you're not actually getting any mana unless you're making the green matches, which isn't mana, it's just reducing the cost of cards in your hand. So then we got the mana wheel. So mana wheel is going to be for the bottom node, right? And then at the beginning of your turn, draw a card again. If you make a white match, the first creature with the least power in your hand gets a permanent +X buff. X is your white mana bonus. Blue is you make a blue match, increase the cost of the first card in your opponent's hand by whatever your blue mana bonus is. Oh man, Jace Mirror Mage. Ooh, that's going to be painful. Increase the cost of the first card by X. Ouch. Black, your opponent loses X life, where X is your black mana bonus. Red, deal X damage to the last opposing creature, where X is your red mana bonus. Good luck having creatures if Koth is there. Green, reduce the cost of the last card in your hand by X. Okay. See, this again, right? Green, reduce the cost of the last card in your hand by X, then reduce the cost of the first 2 cards in your hand by 11. Like, so either this right here is only with green, or it's going to be like with red you deal that damage and then you reduce the cost. I mean, like, reading it has to be that. It has to be then reduce the cost, right? I mean, that makes sense. It's not just like you kind of have to play green and then your whole hand becomes 0 mana. But even still, like, reduce the cost of the last card in your hand by 11 with green gem conversion. Like, anytime you make a green gem match, reduce the last card in your hand by, oh my gosh. Green looping is going to be shenanigans here. But then again, you know, maybe land forming and stuff is going to make this awesome. So, all right, I feel like just reading this now for the 3rd time, it's sinking in, and I get how it's going to work. This has to be like, it's not confirmed by them, but this has to be like, you make the match, then reduce the cost of the first 2 cards in your hand by 11. But even still, oh my gosh, if that's for any color, your mana is pointless. Like, reduce the first by 11. You get a double match, then what? You get to reduce the first 2 cards by 22. Oh, okay. Well, okay. We have to see how it looks. Nonetheless, this is very different. Like, very, very different. There's going to be some serious boom or bust. For objectives, on the top node, we've got the Peasant node, so you can play with only commons, uncommons, and rares if you want to get max ribbons, and Nimble, which is really cool. Cast 10 or more cards that cost 11 or less. So you're going to need to make, like, a low mana cost deck, which is really cool, especially if you think about this. And it definitely makes me feel really good that common, uncommon, and rare thing is there, because that means that we're not going to be seeing just Song of Creation degeneracy. Mana Wheel. Match 24 or more gems of your Planeswalker's colors and cast 10 or more cards that cost 11 or more. I mean, that means maybe not, once again, Song of Creation degeneracy, because the gem converters all cost less than 11 and Song costs 8, or maybe someone is just going to decide to let the loop go on forever and use not Leafkin. I don't know. Nonetheless, it's definitely a very different event. Peasant, this should not be Peasant. It's not Aggressor or that one. We'll see it later. I think it's Identity. I think that this is supposed to be Identity right here, right? That's what this objective is supposed to say. This is a typo. I think it's Identity. For rewards, the rewards for this event are fantastic, super fantastic. So it's 20 to buy in. If you're in Platinum, you get to 50 ribbons, you get your crystals back. If you're in the other tiers, you're still going to be able to get your crystals back between the bottom and the top, just as long as you play through progression. But you're also going to get some bonus mana runes. You're going to get a bonus Ikoria booster pack and Zendikar booster pack, and some mana jewels along the way too. And then the really sweet part is the individual rank rewards here on the bottom. You'll see that for getting in 1st through 5th, you get this 2 packs of the Chandra Anthology pack. Those are these special packs for the Puzzle Masters that have guaranteed non-dupes. So that gives you a really strong incentive to play this, because you're going to be able to just get guaranteed non-dupes from an absolutely fantastic collection. This Chandra collection has really good cards in it for everyone, like newer players, not newer players, regardless of where you are in the game. Unless you just went and splurged and got all of them now already, like me, you're going to want to make sure that you're getting these cards. So you can get the new Masterpiece Mox Ruby, which is just disgusting. It's so good. Ooh, you want that card. But then you've got stuff like Fiery Emancipation, which is an incredibly powerful card. Double Vision, you've got Pyromancer's Goggles, you've got some Origins mainstays along with some other current standard powerhouses like Abbot of Carroll Keep, Chandra's Incinerator. Yeah, so you definitely do want to try and get those. So I really like this as a reward structure. Even though it's not a whole lot of mana jewels, in Platinum it's a maximum of 20 mana jewels for doing this. You are going to be getting your crystals back, you're going to be getting bonus regular packs, and you're going to be getting these guaranteed non-duplicate packs if you place in the top 50. So definitely a pretty big win. The brackets are only 500 people anyways, so that's pretty solid, honestly. So very cool. I'm very excited to see this event roll around. Hopefully this bottom bit is not tied to green matches only. Oh man, if that's tied to green matches only, you're only going to play green Planeswalkers. It can't be. It can't be. Talk yourself out of it, Michael. It can't be. That's nonsense. So there's some card changes. Mystic Crusader is now correctly displaying its subtype. There's a few other little changes. So just things to the quest journal. So health potion cooldown's gone from 3 minutes to 30 seconds for the guiding journal for newer players. And they've added a tutorial for the daily quest and the guiding journal for new players. So quests are going to be available for everyone very soon. I think. They haven't told me this. I'm guessing. But I think they will be. And then the guiding journal, if you have recently created a brand new account, or if you want to just recreate a brand new account just to see what it looks like, there's a journal for new players that has a whole bunch of just extra goodies for new players to help them get started. So I need to actually finish the guiding journal myself on my new account. I made another new account so that I could test it out and see how much it's going to actually help new players. But I'm excited to see how that is. So they fixed the Adamant and Identity objectives. By that I mean they've had their text changed. So Adamant is now going to be that it used to say like you had to match gems, but now you have to match with swaps. Whereas Identity is just going to be you have to match them. Oh, no, it just with swaps. RIP. Supremo RIP. So either way, Adamant or Identity, you need to now swap. It's not match. So gem conversion, no dice. Must swap. Okay. We added a home button. It's right here. It's this little home right there, which is kind of nice. Just if you want to jump to the home screen, be it for the quest system, which is about to come out, probably. Once again, haven't heard from them. Just guessing. Or, to just like access your inbox or the vault or something. Even though, yes, I know we've got the vault right there. But nonetheless, it's nice to have the home right there. So that's pretty cool. From the Vault is getting a little tweak. They're taking all of the different packs from the Odyssey block and putting them into one pack. So Odyssey, Torment, and Judgment, those were 3 separate packs. You now just get all those cards from one pack. It's going to be the Odyssey block pack. There's a few other changes to the pack itself. So the booster pack is now going to contain 5 cards per pack instead of 3 cards. And there's going to be the super pack is now going to give you a total of 15 cards instead of 9. The odds on the packs are still very fantastic. So if you get just an individual pack, you've got a bit better than 50% to get a rare. You're looking at close to 20% to getting a mythic. So close to 1 in 5 packs, you'll get a mythic. And then close to 8% for a masterpiece, which is still absolutely fantastic odds. Makes it so that Seize the Day still is a very exciting event to play because you're very likely to pop some pretty sweet stuff. They've added the Odyssey block to the vault from the vault for booster crafting. So right now you've got from the vault and it's just this one right now in here as from the vault. I'm hoping that as more from the vault sets come out, just because from the looks of it, it looks like we're going to be getting more from the vault stuff. that it will mean that we will be able to craft them separately instead of having to craft all of them together, but we'll see. Nonetheless, I like that this is now available for crafting. I like it very much. The cost is like right in between what it costs for standard and legacy. So like in standard, it's 5,000 for a new mythic, whereas in legacy it's 3,000. So a mythic is 4,000, right? A rare is 800 orbs. An uncommon is 400 orbs. There are no commons in From the Vault, so you don't have to worry about that. Masterpieces are 8,000 orbs, but you have to be VIP 6 or higher to be able to craft masterpieces. So if you're already there, then cool beans. And if you're not, then this doesn't mean anything to you. Here are the orbs that you'll get for opening duplicates from these From the Vault packs, which is still absolutely great, like fantastic. I mean, with the odds of getting mythics and masterpieces being so high and rares from these packs, I mean, as you get them, it's a really nice boost to your mana orbs. So definitely a lot of reason to play Seize the Day, which, by the way, fun little tidbit of information about me, is my favorite event. I like that it's a little closed meta. You don't have to run into all the crazy overpower nonsense that you get in Standard or Legacy. Not to say that I don't like playing with those really powerful things in Standard or Legacy. It's just sort of nice to have that little together, right? So, yeah. In the future, now here's one of the things that I really like, because it says this is about how potential From the Vault sets will be treated in the future. So that means that it's very possible, very likely, that we're going to get more From the Vault. And just once again, I absolutely loved how they did this. So I'm really excited to see more like this in the game. I like that they're adding stuff in between sets. It just means that we've constantly got like more fresh stuff, and so there's going to be fewer like gaps in between sets where we're like, there's not as much to chase and collect. Like, there's just going to be more consistent hype for playing the game. So that's good. And then we've got fixes. All the fixes. So many fixes. Pages of fixes, which we needed. I mean, let's face it. Pages and pages and pages of fixes. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go over some of the the more important fixes in my books, right? Let's get into them. So first up is the exclusive Magacy, the Water Veil. It wasn't quite working correctly and giving extra swaps in all scenarios. Now it will, which is nice. Now they fixed some issues with the Assault objective in the Zendikar Expeditions Trials of Shatterskull. So that's the one where you need to like attack X number of times. It was counting things really wonky, so that's going to work nice. It's going to work how it reads now, or at least it should. So that's great. It's always nice when our events work exactly as they read. Sacrifice objective is now going to correctly count exiled creatures in some of the Origins encounters. It's just we've got a bunch of extra stuff now that's going to be dealing with exile. I'm skipping a few here to Days Undoing. This is an Origins mythic. I imagine that many players have this card. It was working so that if you hit Not Now, it was still actually casting the card. But now it will properly not cast when you hit Not Now. So this is super awesome for Legacy, especially for like the Omniscience decks, because this is a staple for those decks. And even in Standard, I mean, this card is an absolute staple right now, and I feel like pretty much every format. And so having it not working properly was a bit of a bummer. So I'm really glad that this card is fixed. They fixed an issue where Sigil of the Empty Throne was not being triggered when casting a Vanguard support. So this will now properly make the Angel tokens when you cast a Vanguard support. This isn't a big fix in terms of just like this one card, but it does mean that some of those other older cards that were having a very similar issue where they weren't counting Vanguards as supports should now also count Vanguards as supports, because the text for that was probably the same in the code. Fixed an issue where Myriad Construct was not making the creature tokens when it was destroyed by a spell. So now it will actually create the tokens. It'll be like Hangerback Walker if Hangerback Walker had a few too many cappuccinos. I think it's going to go like all nuts on the battlefield. Glasspool Mimic is no longer a samurai that enters the battlefield and then is like, I am dishonorable. Right? It's not going to kill itself as soon as it comes on the battlefield. That was not appropriate, Michael. Anyways, moving on. It's going to work properly, which is great, because it's definitely a card that's worth using in your decks. And so that's pretty cool. So fixed an issue with the Sacrifice objective. Once again, it's fantastic. We like that. Fixed an issue with the Duets of Mana, Tears, and Memories event, where the deck and Planeswalker used was not actually selected when proceeding to the next encounter. So it's just going to sort of save that stuff for you, which is really good, right? We like that. This one, there's a guy in my Discord. He also makes YouTube content. His name is Derek Rogers. He's in the Power 9 Coalition, so you should definitely check him out. But this is his least favorite bug. Derek, along with many other people in the Power 9, dedicate an incredible amount of time to trying to find bugs in the game and report them and find out exactly what is the bug so they can accurately report what that bug is to the developers so that we can have these pages of fixes. So I really appreciate the work that all of them are putting in. And so Derek, this bug fix is for you, my dude, because we were having a conversation in Discord the other day, in my community Discord, and he was saying that this is the one that drives him the most nuts. He hates this one the most. So it used to be so that Omen of the Hunt is a support. It's a green support, and when it enters the battlefield, you convert like 6 or 8 gems to your Planeswalker colors. I want to say it's 6. But with that gem conversion, if it made a match that was a 5 match, then it gave you an extra swap. It's no longer going to give you extra swaps, which means that if you're going up against those green loop decks, those green loop decks are not going to be like randomly getting extra swaps out of nowhere anymore, which is definitely going to make them less powerful, which is a good thing because loops can be kind of annoying. And when there's a bug giving your opponent extra swaps, that's just frustrating. So this is fixed. It's not going to be happening anymore. So you don't have to worry about Leafkin Avenger getting extra swaps to be able to wreck your day. It's not happening anymore. Hooray! See here, Karn Sai Versus token was not counting Vanguard supports as support regarding its effect. So just once again, I think that what they did is they just fixed a little bit in there that's going to make it so that those Vanguard supports count as supports. Fixed an issue with the interaction between Gideon's Triumph and Borborygmos, where Borborygmos' effect would still happen after Gideon's effect destroyed the creature. So I just love to think about this one flavor-wise, that Borborygmos is just so thick and strong that even though Borborygmos gets destroyed, it doesn't matter, because Borborygmos is going to reinforce all of your creatures anyways. Because Borborygmos is a big, strong giant that, once again, the thickness is even greater than Gideon's Triumph. So, I just like to think of that. All right, fixed an issue where Quartzwood Crasher would not trigger properly sometimes under the opponent's control. Oh no, the opponent wasn't getting proper Quartzwood Crasher tokens. But no, really, we want the game to be working as it should. We don't want that nonsense. So, good fix. Fixed an issue where Throne of Makindi was not triggering its kicker effect properly in different scenarios. I'm hoping this means that with like Jace Mirror Mage, when you use the Planeswalker ability that has kicker, that will actually make the Makindi go off and pop gems. For those of you that didn't buy Makindi, when Makindi becomes available for booster crafting or enters the booster pack pool, this will be a fantastic change for you. You are definitely going to want to have this card though. This is one of the best cards from the set. It's really darn good. Fixed an issue with tokens mana cost not being considered as 0. So tokens, if you didn't know, have a mana cost of 0. So them not having that cost of 0 is a bit wacky, but yeah. Fixed an issue where Nissa of Shadowed Bow's third ability was not buffing properly. So this is a huge deal because Nissa of Shadowed Bows is already one of my top 2 most used Planeswalkers, along with Teferi, Hero of Dominaria. And like, she's ridiculously good as it is, but now her third ability is going to be working properly, and so she's just going to be an absolute like trash machine. Like, she's so good. So the way that she was working before, which was bugged, was, let's say that the way that her third ability is supposed to work. Let's go back a step, right? The way that her third ability is supposed to work is that, like, when you play a creature, let's say that let's take well, whatever. Let's go back another step. When you cast a creature, you return the first creature card from your graveyard to your hand, and that creature gets a buff equal to the number of black gems on the battlefield, right? So it gets a power toughness boost, where that boost is going to be equal to the number of black gems. And then when a creature you control dies, the first creature in your hand gets a power boost, where that's going to be equal to the number of green gems on the battlefield. So let's hypothetically pretend that we've got 2 critters in our graveyard, right? And let's pretend that those 2 critters are 10 mana critters. And we play a critter, and then that critter, and we've got 10 black gems on the battlefield, right? So 2 critters are in the graveyard. They both cost 10. We've got 10 black gems on the battlefield. We cast a critter. Casting that critter is going to bring the first of those critters back to our hand. Then, because there are 10 gems on the battlefield, right, that are black, it's going to get 10 mana, which gives it its full mana, and it's going to get a 10/10 buff. Then that critter is going to get cast from your hand because it has full mana. When that critter gets cast from your hand, the other critter that's in your graveyard that costs 10 mana is also going to get returned to your hand. And it will also get that +10/+10 buff. Now here's where the bug was, right? So you'd have the one critter on the battlefield, it got the +10/+10 buff. You then play the second form of that critter with its +10/+10 buff. It should now have a +20/+20 buff. But before this fix, it was only counting the first buff. It was not counting any subsequent buffs that they gained from the third ability token. So now it's properly going to do that. And so now you will properly be getting your creatures into the hundreds and thousands because this ability is really that strong. So if you weren't already using Nissa of Shadowed Bows, you should definitely start using her. If you don't already have her, you should definitely get her. She's one of the best planeswalkers in the game. She's so good. She's so good. So good. And then they fixed some crashes, which, we love to see that, right? A bunch of stuff with tokens. So there were some issues with tokens that were causing crashes. One was if a token with was given a basic evergreen by a support and was destroyed and created again, then the game would crash. And then the other was if two tokens fought each other, then that would cause a crash. There's so many different things that will cause either of those to happen that, it's so nice not to have to worry about crashes. So that's a big win right there. So those are really the main things that I wanted to go over from the notes. Definitely would suggest perusing through them because all of these are important, right? It's always important when they fix something that's not working properly. But I feel like the general theme of this whole set of patch notes is that they're trying to make the game fresh. They're trying to give us more stuff to do. They're trying to make the game exciting and stay exciting, especially in between sets. And so I really like that. So we're at 37 minutes on the video. I know that's really long. I'm sorry. There's just a lot to cover in this. But thank you guys, as always, so much for watching. And I'll see you in the next one.